Hi, Bulldogs. This is Mr. Mueller. I'm doing another episode of Tech Tips, and today we're going to work on Co-Writer. So, Co-Writer is one of the accessibility tools that you have, and it lets you, it's kind of like a co-pilot. It helps you with your writing. So, it will give you ideas for what you need to write while you're typing, and it can also do dictation. So, that means if you're speaking, it will type the text for you, which is super handy. So I'm going to go up to the top of my Chrome browser, and you'll notice two icons. One is Snap and Read, and we'll do that one later. It looks like it's got some crosshairs here. Looks like a circle with a cross in it. And then the next one is called Co-Writer, which we'll look at right now. I like to call this one the brain. It kind of looks like one, but I think it's supposed to be a thought cloud, kind of like a cartoon would have. So I'll click on, right now I notice there's a red dot right there. When I see that red dot, it means that I'm not logged in right now. So you might run into an issue where you need to log in. I will sign in with Google. And then you'll probably need to click on your name. Now, students, if something else happens here and you notice that it needs an activation code or anything like that, then just come talk to Mr. Langrill or Mr. Mueller. So, and also sometimes it takes a while for this little green screen to pop up. That's okay. Sometimes you need to turn it off and back on again, but eventually it'll work. Sometimes it just takes a little time to log in. So great. What I see here is a little green box full of five ideas. And my sixth option is to turn on the microphone. The first thing I want to show is, what if I start typing? So I'm finishing up a planetary brochure template or model for the middle school. I want to write about the accommodations people can have on Jupiter. So I'm going to start writing, and while I type, it's giving me ideas for words. So as I'm writing, I could, if I need to, notice if I write ABOV. Okay, so my first option, number one, is above. I can click on that, and it'll finish the word for me. So I'll keep writing above the clouds, and let the massive. Okay, and again, it gives me that option. This time, instead of clicking on the word, I'm going to press the number one on my keyboard. So instead of clicking on this, I can just look at this and press the number one, and it'll finish that word for me. You might hear, too, that it's also reading the word for me as well, which is really handy.
In. At. Pause. Pat. Right. Stay safe above the clouds and let the massive storms below you pass right by.
Okay, so as I'm going, it's also speaking to me. So you'll probably want to make sure that you have your headphones on and have your microphone ready. I want to show you the other thing that you can do too, which is that last option that I showed. This time I have six options here. It almost is trying to tell me what it thinks I'm going to write next and maybe start my sentence with. But instead, I could either press the number 7 or I can click on this, and it's going to start dictation. So I could begin to speak, and it will hopefully get most or all of the words right. So let's give this a shot. Enjoy the tiny sun, only 484 miles away. Okay. So you'll have mixed results with that sometimes. I'm going to make sure I turn it off because it keeps recording me, which is kind of funny. So I'm looking at this, and I want to check this because this isn't the sun. This is really interesting because this word really confused the computer. I wanted to say sun, like the sun in the center of our solar system. So this is like the son of someone, like a mother's son. So I'm going to change that. And I meant to say only. For some reason, it decided that I said play. There's some background noise in this room right now because someone's working on one of the printers, so that could be why. I'm going to make sure this is correct. Okay, but otherwise, it did pretty well. So I've even had this record while I'm teaching a class. Some of you remember me doing that when I'm showing how it works. And we've decided that it works pretty great. So there's one more thing I want to show. Number one is how to turn this off. All you have to do is click on that brain again and turn off CoWriter. When it's purple, it's on. When it's a gray shape, it's off. Okay. And I wanted to show how to change the options with it because that can be helpful. So on my keypad, while I'm, or on my touchpad, while I'm on this icon, I can two-finger click on the touchpad. So I'm hitting the middle of the touchpad with two fingers. Or I can hold down the control key and click. Either of those will work. And then I'll go to options. Now in options, there's a lot of things that I can do. I'm going to try to go through these somewhat quick, so you can rewind this if you need to review any of them. First off, if you are working on a specific topic, like I'm working on the solar system, I click on that, it's going to give me more suggestions about that topic. Okay, so it'll probably be a little bit more smarter while I'm working on this. So the prediction will be a little bit more on topic. Okay, so I'm going to only share that with the left column here. And I want to go over to the right column now. Now, the number of guesses is how many guesses it's going to have in that green box. Remember, the seventh one was to turn on dictation, the microphone. So I can change that number if I want to, but the box gets kind of big sometimes, so you might want to leave it like this. The font is sometimes helpful to change. There's not a whole lot of choices here, but you can try those and see which one works best for you. The text in the background, by default, the text is black and the background is green. You can change that only to something that's helpful for you. And you can also make the text larger if you need to as well. And it'll show you a sample as you go. Probably don't want to make it too big. Lastly, down on the bottom, you can choose how the words are spoken to you. So right now, the person speaking to me, the virtual person, is Alex. I would suggest that you only choose Alex, or I think the other good choice was Samantha. Samantha sounds kind of like Siri on an iPhone. Those two sound more like American English, where some of the others have some accents. And the last thing I'll show are these three sliders down here. I can change the volume, but you can also do that on your computer or headphones. I can change the speed at which the reader, the virtual reader, Alex, is speaking to me.
Welcome to the CoWriter extension. You can change the pitch, rate, and volume of speech using the sliders below.
Okay, so Alex was just telling me what I had just changed. In this case, it was the speed. So the hummingbird is faster, and the snail, of course, is slower. So if it's helpful for you to change the speed, that's how you can do it. And then also the pitch is just how you hear Alex speak. You might have Alex speak in a higher pitched voice or a lower pitched voice down here. So that might help you too if you want to adjust that as well. Once you're finished with that, you don't need to save anything. You don't need to save the settings. You can just go back up to the top tab and close that tab, and then start working again. Remember to turn CoWriter on. You click on the thought bubble or brain up on the top. That'll turn it purple, and it will bring up the green box unless you change the background color. Hope this is helpful to everyone. See you next time.